hitter number 7, Pin Sarun. Middle block, An Sokheng. Outside hitter number 15, Kun Mom. Middle blocker number 16, Paul Ratanak. Setter and their team captain number 17, Sun Changnaro. Outside hitter number 20, Von Viasna. And their libero number 1, Kim Sovandara. Head coach for Cambodia is Lee Chun. Let us now meet the starters for Vietnam. Middle blocker number 5, Tran Chen Cho. Middle blocker number 6, Nguyen Thanh Hai. Outside hitter number 8, Lei Quang Kang. Setter number 10, Ding Van Tu. Outside hitter number 11, Tran Duc Hang. Opposite hitter, their team captain number 14, Tu Thanh Tuan. And their libero number 1, Huỳnh Trung Truc. Head coach for Vietnam is Thai Quang Lai.
And there you have it, the starters for Team Cambodia and Team Vietnam. All set, as we mentioned a while ago, there's a lot at stake here because, just to give a quick recap, the winner of this game will become the number 3 seed for Group B and will automatically get slotted into the battle for 5th place. Meanwhile, the loser will take on Singapore, the number 3 seed from Group A, and the winner of that game will move on to become the other team in the battle for 5th.
3 teams are in Group A, 4 teams are in Group B. The Philippines is in Group B with Indonesia and of course Vietnam and Cambodia. The Philippines and Indonesia will make it to the next phase. They will square off in our next match after this face-off, and the winner of that match will be the top team in Group B. Meanwhile, these 2 teams have been eliminated in contention for the medal round, something that is really unusual for Vietnam, a team that has finished in the podium, I believe, in the last 4 stagings of the Southeast Asian Games, and they have not finished lower than 3rd since 2011, and this is a huge surprise for us to see Vietnam not crossing over to the next round, and that was yun yung bigat ng panalo ng Team Philippines laban sa Vietnam sa kanilang pangalawang sunod na pagkapanalo dito sa ating 30th Southeast Asian Games.
And on your screens, Kun Mom, one of the high scorers for Cambodia,
right,
scoring last time 21 points, Coach Ronnie.
Versus Indonesia. But in the game versus the Philippines, Kun Mom was only limited to, I believe, 5 points. And right now for Cambodia, it's about trying to start out well, because in spite of the fact that they had that 35-33 loss in that 3rd set face-off versus Indonesia, they started out quite slow in that face-off versus Indonesia, only scoring 20 points in the 1st set and 17 in that 2nd set loss.
And you can see the lineup from Team Cambodia. They have a taller lineup, nothing less than 180 centimeters compared to the players of Vietnam, and let's see how they will use that height to their advantage as they move to 2-1 right now.
We have seen throughout this Southeast Asian Games the value of being tall and long, and that's the reason why our men's team is also making a lot of headway. This is the tallest lineup I've seen in our national team sa men's category, and it has paid off. And right now, unbeaten after winning only 1 match in 2017 and also winning 1 game in 2015. Right now, we've won 2, and we have a shot in getting to the podium, a podium finish.
And a while ago, we saw Team Cambodia really taking advantage of their height with that block from Pin Sarun, who scored 6 points in the previous game against Indonesia.
Cambodia had 4 blocks versus the Philippines, while in that match, I believe, versus Indonesia, Cambodia had 7 to Indonesia's 8. Nung kalaban natin sila, we had 17 kill blocks. They had 4. 3.8 for Cambodia. Talked about the need for them to start out well, and they have done exactly what they need to do against Vietnam, who continues to struggle playing without much confidence, without much fire, after being one of the seeded teams. It's a possible medal contender heading to this competition.
On your screens, you can see An Sok Heng and also players from Vietnam. 4-point lead there from Team Cambodia. Great service. Setting it up. The blockers again working so well, but that one there was no follow-up. And finally, Vietnam stops the bleeding.
And that's their top scorer. Of course, T3, as our colleague Anton Ross would love to call him.
What's the nickname?
T3, Tan Tan 2, who had 15 points versus the Philippines on a 15 of 44 hitting clip. Yung nasa Vietnam naman na counterpart niya, T4.
T4.
Oo, kasi apat na names niya starts with the letter T.
Kung may T3, T4, diba, Coach Ronnie, yung men's volleyball, may Bay.
Which is?
Sila, Bagunas, forgot the A, and then Espejo.
Pwede. Abdilia.
Abdi. Did you see that there are articles for they call it the Hoth Leagues
Pwede.
for our SEA Games.
Pwede.
So it's not just their skills, their athletic prowesses that is getting so much attraction, but of course are good-looking athletes as well. But here, Cambodia stretches out the lead to 5 points.
Voy Investna led Cambodia in that loss against the Philippines with 16 points, followed by Pin Sarun and Mai Raksmi with 9 points apiece. Kon Mom was scoreless against the Philippines, and he was the leading scorer versus Indonesia. Lead down to 4 for Cambodia. Vietnam trying to get its second win after a slow start. A quick play for Cambodia, of course, punctuated by that quick play coming from An Sok Heng with 2 points.
Preparing because they are coming up next as they go against Indonesia. So which one will be able to draw the first loss for either countries? On your screens, Born serving for Team Cambodia.
Vom Vesna on your screens earlier. There was a service ace for Cambodia as Vietnam looks to strike back against a team that they're behind by 5 here in the first set. A free ball that turns to be a free point for Cambodia, rather for Vietnam. 4 in the first set for Vietnam.
That one was from Sun Chanaro, the captain, as Quang Can Le will be serving for Vietnam.
Scoreless against Indonesia. Isle.
Jump serve. Great reception there. And a strong blocking by Vietnam. Finally, back-to-back points.
First string of 2 consecutive points for the red shirts. Now the lead is down to 3. Les scored 7 points against the Philippines. Scoreless against Indonesia. 3.5 points per match.
And finally, Vietnam catching up to the aggressiveness of Cambodia. Ooh, and a strong attack there by, again, their #1 scorer, Mom Kun.
You're correct. Misdirection along the middle coming from An Sok Heng to free up Mom Kun. 2 in the match for Mom Kun. 4-point lead for Cambodia versus Vietnam.
Oh, deceiving. And that was great. Right in the middle. Seeing the hole there.
From Han Tran. Nice power tip, finding the donut in the defense. Able to get their offensive rhythm finally. Vietnam was 30 of 73 versus Indonesia. Not a bad clip, but against the Philippines, really were struggling all match long versus the Philippines. Only 33 out of 100. The Philippines nearly at 50%, 46 of 94. Back set, misdirection by the middle hitter. And then a cross-court winner fired by Vietnam. Of course, by T3. Now the lead is just a 2 for Cambodia.
And that's a service ace by Tran Tien Chu.
The first one for Vietnam. Vietnam, no service aces versus the Philippines. Last time that they played and against Indonesia, they just had 1.
And they're slowly catching up because now the lead of Cambodia is just down to 1. Great service again. And the blocking of Vietnam.
1 block versus the Philippines. Philippines had 11 versus Vietnam. Against Cambodia, against Indonesia, Vietnam had 5 blocks. Indonesia also had 5. Now we're tied at 9. Timeout for Cambodia.
you can see that was a timeout already that was very much needed by Cambodia dahil yun nga, Coach Ori, nahabol na sila eh. They had the lead, at least, you know, the most was 5, if I remember correctly, and then suddenly Vietnam came catching up after the first technical timeout.
A timeout after the first technical timeout means it's the red flag raised by Cambodia, a cause for concern. After a blistering start, suddenly Vietnam has awakened. And now let's see how Cambodia will make the necessary adjustments, because Vietnam is threatening to take the lead for the first time here in this initial set.
Tran Ten Chu serving again. Free ball. Ooh, another strong hit, and the scoring spree continues from Vietnam, courtesy of Tran Doc Han, who has now 2 points compared to his previous game. That was just 1.
Player number 11, coming off the piston play.
For Cambodia, number 20
Vietnam has strung up
number
at least 3
9,
consecutive
Nina
points.
Rejoicing in the court.
You have to. Hirap manalo. 1 point versus the Philippines for player number 11, scoreless against Indonesia in the 3-set loss. Both teams have not won a single set at all so far this Southeast Asian Games.
So whoever will be winning will definitely be a great morale booster for either Cambodia or Vietnam.
You're correct. Vietnam, I'm sure, unhappy where they stand right now, especially that they won't cross over to the medal phase. Sabi nga natin, a perennial third placer behind Thailand and Indonesia. The last few stagings of the Southeast Asian Games.
And the score by Tan Hai Nguyen. Vietnam maintaining the 1-point lead. Pero so far, habulan na lang sila dito eh. Serving, Dien Van Tu. And the blocking of the blocks. Cambodia will score courtesy of Pinsarun.
Pinsarun also had 2 blocks in that loss to Cambodia. Tied with Hoi. Ratanak also had a couple against Indonesia as well. Second kill block of the set for Cambodia, but a quick play for Vietnam secures another 1-point lead for them.
Again, that was Tan Hai Nguyen.
3 points already for him, I believe, in this set. You see the fast plays, the quick sets. That is to try and elude the blockers, because Cambodia has done a good job in protecting the net. They have used that line of defense to stymie Vietnam. Second service ace for Vietnam. After a very slow start, now they're up by the biggest advantage so far for them. 4 in the match for player number 11, averaging under 1 point per game the first 2 matches that they played so far.
And you can see the energy shifting for Team Vietnam. They're playing with much more fun and energy here at the second half. Ooh, a great save.
That's allowed. That's legal.
Setting it up from the back row, and I think, if I see correctly, was that a triple block?
That's a triple block against player number 15, Kon Mom. 21-point scorer, was 21 of 33. Amazing accuracy versus Indonesia in a losing cause.
And no wonder they needed 3 blocks, because he is the highest scorer for Cambodia.
Saka yung efficiency, 21 of 33. Halos bihira magmintis.
And a service error there. Point awarded to Team Cambodia. Setting it up. Ooh, quick play. And let's see. Great save there by Cambodia. But an error is called.
Seems like a net touch for player number 13.
An Sok Heng.
Correct.
There is a challenge on the call by Cambodia. Net fault.
You can have many challenges as you want, for as long as you do not have 2 consecutive unsuccessful challenges. If you do so in a set, you lose your challenge in that particular set. Doon ka na sa susunod na set, magkakaroon ng challenge.
So you have to choose your battles.
Pwede naman, lalong-lalo na pag yung dikdikan. Kaya lang, hindi pwedeng dalawang sunod na sablay. And we saw that happen in that match between the Philippines last night and, of course, Thailand in a thriller. What started to be a dominant show by Thailand turned out to be a thriller
Ladies and gentlemen,
in the second and third
was
sets.
successful. Point will be replayed.
And that was a successful challenge for Cambodia. There was no net touch.
On deck to serve. Poi Ratanak at the service line. 7-point scorer versus Indonesia.
2-point lead for Vietnam. Serving. Setting it up. Combination play. Breaking down the blocks.
Vietnam is number 65 ranked team. The Philippines, I believe, over 100. Cambodia is unranked.
Cambodia, number 9 out, number 20, Von Viasna in.
That was T3 breaking down the blocks of Team
Oh
Cambodia.
yes, in that match versus the Philippines, focal point of our defensive game plan was to contain T3. And he exploded and still scored 15. But eventually his efficiency went down as the match went deeper. Vietnam giving up the last point of the block point coming from Cambodia against a single blocker. Point coming from Som Eng, a 1-point scorer versus Indonesia.
Pinsarun serving. Another quick attack, but saved. Setting up in Vietnam. Soft touch. Nabangan ng Cambodia. The blockers again of Vietnam being aggressive.
Quick play. Middle hitter activated. Excellent transition plays coming from Vietnam. Better floor defense. Enabling them to counter-attack as quickly as possible.
Magsanok.
This was the part of the initial technical timeout na humabol ang Vietnam. And from that time on, there's no looking back so far for T3. Looking to add another point to this 3-point advantage.
That was a strong serve.
Oh, deep. Coming from Pinsarun. Heading to zone 1, between zone 1 and zone 6. Well placed.
Visnavom serving. Jump serve. Great reception. From the back row, and here we see again the blockers of Cambodia. This time around being aggressive as we look at this replay once again.
Misdirection was there, but the middle blocker not biting that misdirection. Excellent play coming from An Sok Keng with 6 points in that loss against Indonesia. Now the lead is just at 1 for Vietnam. Make that 2 on that service error coming from Cambodia. That was Vom Visna committing that service error. Visna had 1 service ace versus Indonesia.
As we see Quang Can Le from Vietnam serving. And that is too strong. Again, outside hit from Kwon Mom.
Incidentally, Kwon Mom was scoreless against the Philippines after erupting for 15 versus Indonesia. It was Von Visna who scored well against the Philippines with 16 points, aided by a 15 of 26 hitting clip.
But a down-the-line attack by Pinsarun.
9 of 21 versus the Philippines.
No blockers there.
Eluding the double block, going down the line, beating the coverage down the line.
Oh, quick hit there. But the blockers of Cambodia again being aggressive. And the back-to-back scores for Cambodia, courtesy of their highest scorer, Kwon Mom.
Going to the open hitter. Scoring against the double wall. Lead down to 1 for Vietnam. Cambodia fighting back.
Ooh, from the back row, a strong attack there.
It's too much force coming to T3. T3 had 15 points, I believe, in one of their matches. T3, 19 versus Indonesia, 15 versus the Philippines. 34 points in 2 games for T3, 17 per match.
And off the block, Kwon Mom scores again for Cambodia, cutting down the lead of Vietnam to just 1 point. Serving the captain of Team Cambodia, Sun Chanaro. Combination play.
Ganda ng height. And one thing is clear for Vietnam, it's all about collective scoring, more balanced offense, as a better ball distribution coming from their playmaker. Still a 2-point lead for Vietnam. Can't seem to get away from the tight clutches of Cambodia.
Han Tran scoring more than the previous game already.
Wow. That was a high ball set. Yet T3 was able to fire away and score against the double
Timeout,
block.
Cambodia.
Soaring over the two blockers. Lead is at 3 for Vietnam late in the first set.
And both teams really are fighting back, trying to get that first set win, because I'm sure whoever will get this first set win, Coach Ronnie, will be able to at least get the advantage of dictating the pace and the momentum
Saka wala
of our
pa
game.
silang set na ipapanalo, Denise. Very surprising, especially for Vietnam, whom we pointed out, at least in the last 4 stages of the Southeast Asian Games, have finished in the medal round. Actually, nag-second place pa nga ito, their best finish in their history of campaigning in the Southeast Asian Games. This is just a biennial event, meaning held every 2 years, as we check out Coach Dante Elin Sinurin, chief architect of our men's national team's campaign in the Southeast Asian Games, and also the head coach of the NU Bulldogs, which won the last UAAP championship versus the Ateneo Blue Eagles. Excellent reception, quick play coming from Cambodia. Look at the turn by the playmaker, and before the blocker was able to rise, the ball was put away by Cambodia. Lead down to 3. 2 rather.
Strong serve there. Another combination play, but the coverage was there. Adjust at the net. Ooh, another quick hit.
If you notice, Denise, all the transition plays, bira yung high ball set. Para hindi makapwesto yung transition defense, makapalo na. Except for that attack earlier by T3, the rest are all quick sets. Mabababa, mabibilis, bago makarotate yung depensa at makabalik sa tamang pwesto.
And that point goes to Tien Chiu Tran.
Wow.
Service ace again, Coach Ronnie, for
Correct.
Vietnam. They seem to be on a roll right now.
Especially after taking the lead away from Cambodia, reaching the first technical timeout. In a very good position at this point of the match. 4-point lead and only 2 points away from winning set number 1.
Han Tran also stepping up for Team Vietnam, as he serves again. But this time
1 out
around,
of 2. Not bad. Still protecting a 3-point lead. First line of offense.
Substitution
Always
for
win with
Vietnam,
much
number
force.
11 out,
With
number
pressure,
16, Hao Duc Quang.
take away the formation on offense by the opposition.
the Quang Cao enters the game for Vietnam. He didn't play in the previous one. So let's see what their coach has in store for the
Daming
plays.
players na hindi naglaro ng mga ibang laban nila, naglalaro ngayon, no? And Denise really delighted with what she's seeing. And once again,
That was amazing.
T3, if you see them live, Denise, you'll really be amazed. Especially when you see world-class volleyball players who from time to time visit the Philippines. And the last time I covered, one was Dante Lencinorin was still playing, and Jesse Lopez, one of the setters of the Philippines, was with him. And alam mo yung bola, umaakit kung saan kami napupunta, sa lakas pumalo.
The intensity of men's
Saka
volleyball.
iba talaga. Iba talaga. Yung ASEAN Volleyball Championships, when we cover them, iba na yun eh. But
Vietnam takes
different
set
level
number
talaga kung
1
nakita mo yung mga
25 to
world-class
20.
volleyball players. Mas sobrang gagaling.
2019 30th SEA Games. It's Cambodia versus Indonesia. As you can see, Coach Ronnie, of course, Cambodia surprising everyone, as it was Indonesia who was actually, leading when it came to the first half.
Should be Vietnam. Vietnam, the match is between Vietnam and Cambodia. Of course, Vietnam winning over Cambodia in the first set. And I think the numbers of Cambodia are on the left side, while Vietnam's numbers are on the right side. And I believe that the floor defense of Vietnam was better. And that's the reason why they were able to increase their offensive efficiency, their offensive outputs, their attacks. Eventually, was more than what Cambodia had. Most of the points of Cambodia came in the early part of the first set, and although they tried to rally and mount an uprising after the midpoint of the first set, it was never enough because T3, the rest of Team Vietnam,
Everyone was just
solid on
contributing.
offense. Pero ang key sa kanila is not just the blocking, even the service, the force on the service line was enough to take away the rhythm on defense of Cambodia. That's why they were not able to execute their counter plays, get their playbook going. Eventually, Vietnam winning the first set, coming from behind after a very slow start.
And that's, of course, credit also to their setter, Van Tu
Tama ka, tama
for
ka.
being able to distribute the ball, because everyone really was able to score already,
That's a very good point.
topping their previous scores from their game against the Philippines.
Yeah,
Especially
12.
with Van Tien Duong and, the rest of Team Vietnam, Coach Ronnie.
He had 12 excellent sets versus Joshua Retamar 17 of 61. He was only 11 of 62 rather against the Team Philippines, and I'm sure he has a better rate, better success rate today versus Cambodia. While against Indonesia, he only had 7 excellent sets to the playmaker of Indonesia's Visakhar Munawar's 23. So that's how important